Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today, as you saw from the title, we are going to be going through my most anticipated reads for the year of 2023. And that specifically is a list of books that are coming out this year. So some of the books that we're going to be encountering are books that have already come out due to the lateness of this video, but that's besides the point. I must confess, I am Danielle from the future because Danielle from the past, i.e. Danielle from last week, already filmed this video, but the beginning of the video, the footage was corrupted. So I lost a good portion of footage from when I first started to film this. So Danielle from the future here to tell you that you are going to, somewhere along the line in this video, see Danielle from last week before the footage got corrupted. So enjoy that. I'm going to take you through all of the books that are coming out this year that I'm exceptionally excited to get my hands on and read. And I'm going to be putting the list in order from release date. Some of these books have already come out because this video is now late, but I will be telling you their release date nonetheless in case there are any books that you missed yourself or any books that you are going to want to get your hands on that haven't come out yet. The first book on my list is actually one that I own already, and it is The Stolen Heir by Holly Black. This is definitely something I was so excited to get my hands on. I ended up making this list sometime last year. I wrote down all the books I was excited about and was like, oh, I'll film it in the new year. And so I've been excited about this book for quite a while since I heard it was coming out, but I have owned it since the release date, so still excited to read it, but I'm also excited that I own it. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I pre-ordered it because I wanted to get my hands on it and make sure that it didn't sell out. There's not much that I will say about The Stolen Heir because this is something that takes place after the Cruel Prince series. I believe it's 8 years after the third book, so I will not be telling you what this one's about because it will be spoilery, but I will be linking all of these books down below, so if any of these books are of interest to you, or if you want better descriptions than what I give, the links are down below, so please feel free to check those out. Who knows, maybe sometime at the end of this year I will do another video where I kind of go back to this list and tell you my thoughts on it and my star rating. If you didn't gather, all the books on this list are essentially going to be books that I am thinking are going to be 5-star reads. So we'll see if they are by the end of the year. The next book that was also on the list came out January 3rd as well, and that is, I just lost it, Song of Silver Flame Like Night by Amélie Zhao. That also, as I said, came out January 3rd, and let me read you the description because this one sounds so good. So this book is actually going to be the start of a new trilogy, if not series, I believe. It does say that it's number 1 in the Song of the Last Kingdom, so who knows, but there will be more than one, which I'm very excited about. I was definitely enticed by this book because I already knew the author. Author recognition is a pretty big thing sometimes for what goes on my TBR for sure. If I've liked an author in the past, I'm probably going to want to read their future books, but also the cover of this book was something that I was immediately drawn to, and I was like, a cover like that, it's got to be a good book, right? But then I read the blurb and I went, yes, anticipated book for 2023. So let me read you the blurb. In a fallen kingdom, one girl carries the key to discovering the secrets of her nation's past and unleashing the demons that sleep at its heart. An epic fantasy series inspired by the mythology and folklore of ancient China. Once Lan had a different name. Now she goes by the one the Atlantean colonizers gave her when they invaded her kingdom, killed her mother, and outlawed her people's magic. She spends her nights as a song girl in Haxgong, a city transformed by the conquerors, and her days scavenging for what she can find of the past. Anything to understand the strange mark burned into her arm by her mother in her last act before she died. The mark is mysterious, an untranslatable hidden character, and no one but Lan can see it until the night a boy appears at her tea house and saves her life. Zen is a practitioner, one of the fabled magicians of the Last Kingdom. Their magic was rumored to have been drawn from the demons they communed with, magic believed to be long lost. Now it must be hidden from the Atlanteans at all costs. When Zen comes across Lan, he recognizes what she is, a practitioner with a powerful ability hidden in the mark on her arm. He's never seen anything like it, but he knows that if there are answers, they lie deep in the pine forests and misty mountains of the Last Kingdom, with an order of practicing masters planning to overthrow the Atlantean regime. Both Lan and Zem have secrets buried deep within, secrets they must hide from others, and secrets they themselves have yet to discover. Fate has connected them, but their destiny remains unwritten. Both hold the power to liberate their land, and both hold the power to destroy the world. Now the battle for the last kingdom begins. Doesn't that sound so good? The next book on my list is another book that has now since come out and now I have since gotten my hands on, and that is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. I would hold it up for you, but it is buried in a pile over there, so we're gonna just let it be. But I'm still very excited about it. I do have the Book of the Month edition, and I did get the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, and the cover is disturbing. This will not be a phased out book on my shelf because it's gross. It's a vibe, but it's gross. If you do not know, Hellbent is the sequel to Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, and I am very excited. I love Leigh Bardugo's writing. I am excited to continue to watch her writing journey grow and flourish and get to see how her craft develops. And I have been eyeing this since they released the cover, and I cannot wait to get to it. I will link Ninth House and Hellbent below just in case you're curious to check it out. I think I'm actually going to do that with all the other books too. I'll try and at least link the first one in the trilogy as well as the one I discussed. So that way if you haven't read any of the books in a series or in a trilogy or whatever the case may be, that you can go back to the original one without being spoiled. So editing Danielle, please remember to do that, but we'll see how it goes because I might forget. The next book on my list is, again, another one that has since come out. When I originally filmed this video, some of these books were not out, but here we are. It is now February and I'm refilming. As I said originally, when I found out the footage was corrupted, I was gonna scrap this entire video, and then I went, you know what? No. It's salvageable, so it's a little late, but here we are. The next book on my list is a book that has, as I said, since come out, and that is Mysteries of Thorn Manor by Margaret Rogerson. It came out on January 17th. And if you do not know, this is a novella that is in the Sorcery of Thorns universe. I believe that this book is technically counted as 1.5 in the series, so I'm assuming that means there will be a book 2 coming, and if so, this will take place in between book 1 and book 2. I, again, cannot tell you anything about it because it would be spoiler filled, but I'm definitely very excited to get to it. Sorcery of Thorns was something that I believe I read as a buddy read or for a book club, and it completely took me by surprise. I did not expect to love it as much as I did, and I loved it. So I am very excited to get my hands on this. I saw it at the bookstore the other day. I didn't get it. I thought about it, but I will be getting it soon. I will be picking it up, and you know, I'll let you know how it goes once I do. So yeah, Mysteries of Thorn Manor. The next book on this list, not a surprise to anyone. This book has since come out. It came out on the 31st, which stoked about. I do have a copy because it's me. That is Chain of Thorns, and the fact that this book is so massive, first of all, like, I'm ready. I know it's gonna destroy me. I'm emotionally prepared, I think. Who knows? If you don't know, Chain of Thorns is the 3rd book in the sequel series to the Infernal Devices trilogy. So I know the Mortal Instruments series can be a little bit confusing because it's so expansive and it's such a large series, but there's the main series, the Mortal Instruments series. This is the sequel series to the prequel series, the Infernal Devices. So technically in timeline it is the Infernal Devices trilogy, the Last Hours trilogy, which is this one, and then the Mortal Instruments follows that. And the Last Hours trilogy is Chain of Gold, Chain of Iron, and now Chain of Thorns, if you did not know, and this is the conclusion to that trilogy. This is the last book in that trilogy, the last book that we are going to get with this era of characters. My heart is not ready, my soul is not ready. It's going to be so hard to say goodbye. It is long, which I'm so excited about because I'm going to have a lot more time with the characters. It's close to 1,000 pages, but I'm just ill-prepared because I know Cassandra Clare, and I know that her 3rd book in everything she writes, whether it's the 3rd in the trilogy or if it's the 3rd in the main series, like for the Mortal Instruments it would be the 3rd book and the 6th book, and then obviously the 3rd book in the Infernal Devices, the 3rd book in this one, I'm assuming, but her 3rd books are always so emotionally devastating. So like, I don't know why I put myself through this, but here we are. But this is definitely one of my most anticipated reads of the year. I have been waiting for this, but also like afraid of this because I don't know what it's gonna mean for me. If you don't hear from me for a while, I'm probably in emotional distress. I do plan, however, just so you know, on doing a reading vlog for Chain of Thorns. It's obviously going to be extremely spoiler filled, so if you haven't read, I wouldn't watch. But I really want to capture my reading experience with this book because I've not done it with any other Cassandra Clare books, really, not during the process of reading, so I kind of just want to capture it and just see how it goes. It could be a mess. I could be a mess, but we'll find out together. So stay tuned for that. That is coming when I get to this book. So sometime in the next month. But I'm just so excited about this book. As I said, it came out January 31st. I want to see how long it is, but I also don't want to be back here towards the back and like see something, God forbid. Can you imagine? 778 pages. That's how long it is. I did not see anything, so that's exciting. But I cannot tell you much about this story because, again, it is the third in a trilogy that is wrapping up and a sequel series to a different series, so it's a little convoluted. But as I said, I will link it below, so if you do care to explore, feel free. I promise that's not how all of these books are going to work out. There are some books on here that I can't describe, so you know. But Chain of Thorns, I'm elated and terrified of this book. Next on my list is a book that actually has not come out yet, which is exciting for me because that means that I am now no longer behind on this portion of the list. That book is The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshni Chokshi. This was another one where I had already known of Roshni Chokshi, love Roshni Chokshi, and as soon as I knew she was coming out with another book, I was like, well, I have to read it because she's amazing. But then I saw the cover and then I read the synopsis and it was immediately added to my must-reads for 2023. When you hear the synopsis, you'll understand why, so let me read it to you. A sumptuous, gothic-infused story about a marriage that is unraveled by dark secrets, a friendship cursed to end in tragedy, and the danger of believing in fairy tales. The breathtaking adult debut from New York Times bestselling author Roshni Chokshi. Once upon a time, a man who believed in fairy tales married a beautiful, mysterious woman named Indigo Maxwell Castaneda. He was a scholar of myths. She was an heiress to a fortune. They exchanged gifts and stories and believed they would live happily ever after, and in exchange for her love, Indigo extracted a promise that her bridegroom would never pry into her past. But when Indigo learns that her estranged aunt is dying and the couple is forced to return to her childhood home, the House of Dreams, the bridegroom will soon find himself unable to resist. For within the crumbling manor's extravagant rooms and musty halls, there lurks the shadow of another girl, Azure, Indigo's dearest childhood friend who suddenly disappeared. As the house slowly reveals his wife's secrets, the bridegroom will be forced to choose between reality and fantasy, even if doing so threatens to destroy their marriage or their lives. Combining the lush, haunting atmosphere of Mexican Gothic with the dreamy enchantment of the invisible life of Addie LaRue, The Last Tale of the Flower Bride is a spellbinding and darkly romantic page-turner about love and lies, secrets and betrayals, and the stories we tell ourselves to survive. If that doesn't sound amazing to you, then I don't know what to tell you because that sounds amazing to me. I love The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. If you've been following this channel, you know. If you haven't, now you know. But The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue is one of my all-time top favorite books, like top 5 favorite books. And I already love Roshni Chokshi, so this just sounds amazing. I've been getting a lot more into adult books. I definitely still think my home base is young adult, but I've been delving into adult books and really finding that I'm liking it. And I think it's been a really natural transition because a lot of young adult authors have been transitioning into writing adult books, so it's been kind of easy to just follow people that I already know and love and get to see their writing in a different context. So that's exciting for me. I cannot wait for that. That comes out on Valentine's Day, which is right around the corner, so I have to put that in my brain because I tend to forget release dates. Okay, so still Danielle from the future, and I wanted to jump in one last time because now we are going to get to the segment of footage that was not corrupted in the original video I filmed. So this upcoming footage is footage from Danielle a couple of weeks ago when she was still young and hopeful and her footage hadn't been lost. Thank you for watching the refilmed version and participating in this, whatever this is. And now I turn you over to Danielle from a week to a week and a half to 2 weeks ago, past Danielle, to take over and finish off the list of my most anticipated reads for 2023. The next book on my list is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi by S.A. Chakraborty, and this one just sounds really, really good. The cover of this book is stunning. I also really love that I'm starting to put a lot more adult books on my TBR. That's very exciting. Intimidating. Exciting. This book comes out March 2nd. So keep your eyes peeled if it sounds interesting. Shannon Chakraborty, the best-selling author of The City of Brass, spins a new trilogy of magic and mayhem on the high seas in this tale of pirates and sorcerers, forbidden artifacts and ancient mysteries in one woman's determined quest to seize a final chance at glory and write her own legend. Amina Al-Sirafi should be content. After a storied and scandalous career as one of the Indian Ocean's most notorious pirates, she survived backstabbing rogues, vengeful merchant princes, several husbands, and one actual demon to retire peacefully with her family to a life of piety, motherhood, and absolutely nothing that hints of the supernatural. But when she's tracked down by the obscenely wealthy mother of a former crewman, she's offered a job no bandit could refuse: retrieve her comrade's kidnapped daughter for a kingly sum. The chance to have one last adventure with her crew, do right by an old friend, and win a fortune that will secure her family's future forever. It seems like such an obvious choice that it must be God's will. Yet the deeper Amina dives, the more it becomes alarmingly clear there's more to this job and the girl's disappearance than she was led to believe. For there's always a risk in wanting to become a legend, to seize one last chance at glory, to savor just a bit more power, and the price might be your very soul. It sounds so good. I'm really hoping it blows my socks off. That's a weird phrase. I don't like that phrase. Anyway, I'm really hoping I like this one because this one is definitely, obviously it's on my anticipated reads list, but it's like high on like I expect this book to just be so good. So good. And I'm very excited that it's the start of a trilogy. That makes me even more excited. As I said, it comes out March 2nd and it is, does it say? It does not say how many pages it is. It's a mystery. I'm hoping it's a big, thick book though. Next on my list, that was 3-2. Next on my list is another book that I actually do have, and this book is Silver in the Bone by Alexandra Bracken, which comes out April 4th, and this one I'm so excited for. I haven't read it yet. I've owned it now for a couple months and I do feel really bad about that, but I've definitely been very, very behind on my reading, and also then I fell into a reading slump towards the end of the year, which typically happens to me because the holidays. But this is a book that I got at Yellowface this year in November, and it is from Get Underlined Books, and I love Alexandra Bracken. Alexandra Bracken wrote the Passengers duology, and she also wrote the Darkest Minds books, and Silver in the Bone I think is her latest book that's come out since then. I could be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. I think the last thing she put out was The Darkest Legacy. Wait, no, The Darkest Legacy is definitely separate. It's separate. No, it's not. I was right. The Darkest Legacy is part of The Darkest Minds. So this is the first new book series that she has put out since The Darkest Minds books. And yeah, it's called Silver in the Bone, and let me tell you what it's about. #1 New York Times bestselling author Alexandra Bracken cements her status as one of the top fantasy authors writing today in this stunning series opener inspired by Arthurian Anyway, Tamsin Lark didn't ask to be a hollower. As a mortal with no magical talent, she was never meant to break into ancient crypts or compete with sorceresses and cunning folk for the treasures inside. But after her thieving foster father disappeared without so much as a goodbye, it was the only way to keep herself and her brother Cable alive. 10 years later, rumors are swirling that her guardian vanished with a powerful ring from Arthurian legend. A run-in with her rival Emrys ignites Tamsin's hope that the ring could free Cable from a curse that threatens both of them. But they aren't the only ones who covet the ring. As word spreads, greedy followers start circling, and many would kill to have it for themselves. While Emrys is the last person Tamsin would choose to partner with, she needs all the help she can get to edge out her competitors in the race for the ring. Together they dive headfast into a viper's nest of dark magic, exposing a deadly secret with the power to awaken ghosts of the past and shatter her last hope of saving her brother. And look at this cover! Like, what? It's giving Lord of the Rings vibes. Now that I'm out of my reading slump, I mean, everything's gonna come second to Chain of Thorns, if we're being honest. Chain of Thorns is gonna be first priority. But after that, I'm such a mood reader though that it really just depends. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna get to after Chain of Thorns. Like, Chain of Thorns is like, it is my mood today, tomorrow, and yesterday. Like, that will be the mood. I don't care. But beyond that, I'm such a mood reader that I'm never sure what's coming next. It really depends on that second of the day. What do we have next? That was full. Don't know where that accent came from. The next book that's on this list I'm exceptionally excited about. This is another one that I found out kind of last minute because I found out about it from, I believe, another YouTube channel that was talking about it. But either way, that is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. If R.F. Kuang sounds familiar to you, R.F. Kuang is the author of the Poppy War trilogy and also the author of Babel. And Yellowface comes out, as I said, on May 16th. When I read the description, I was like, I have to read this. So let me read you the summary for it. What's the harm in a pseudonym? New York Times best-selling sensation Juniper Song is not who she says she is. She didn't write the book she claims she wrote, and she is most certainly not Asian American. In this chilling and hilariously cutting novel from R.F. Kuang in the vein of White Ivy and the Other Black Girl, authors June Hayward and Athena Liu were supposed to be twin rising stars, same year at Yale, same debut year in publishing, but Athena's a cross-genre literary darling, and June didn't even get a paperback release. Nobody wants stories about basic white girls, June thinks. So when June witnesses Athena's death in a freak accident, she acts on impulse. She steals Athena's just-finished masterpiece, an experimental novel about the unsung contributions of Chinese laborers to the British and French war efforts during World War I. So what if June edits Athena's novel and sends it to her agent as her own work? So what if she lets her new publisher rebrand her as Juniper Song, complete with an ambiguously ethnic author photo? Doesn't this piece of history deserve to be told, whoever the teller? That's what June claims. And the New York Times bestseller list seems to agree. But June can't get away from Athena's shadow, and emerging evidence threatens to bring June's stolen success down around her. As June races to protect her secret, she discovers exactly how far she'll go to keep what she thinks she deserves. With its totally immersive first-person voice, Yellowface takes on questions of diversity, racism, and cultural appropriation not only in the publishing industry, but the persistent erasure of Asian American voices and history by Western white society. R.F. Kuang's novel is timely, razor-sharp, and eminently readable. Next on my list for anticipated books is Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. I read Love Hypothesis last year, I believe, for book club, and it was an unexpected favorite. I went into it knowing that it was kind of based on Rey and Kylo from Star Wars, and obviously I was very intrigued by that because I love Rey and Kylo, but it was one of my first times delving into adult romance, and I very much liked it. I liked Ali Hazelwood's style of writing. Now, I've neglected to read any of her other books, and I don't know how many there are. I know there was one I was excited about, which was Love on the Brain, but I did not end up getting to that one. Love Theoretically is coming out June 13th, which is a couple of weeks after my birthday, so that's actually very exciting. And the cover is orange, which is my favorite color, so that's also exciting. Let me read you the synopsis of Love Theoretically. Rival physicists collide in a vortex of academic feuds and fake dating shenanigans in this delightfully STEMinist rom-com from the New York Times bestselling author of The Love Hypothesis and Love on the Brain. The many lives of theoretical physicist Elsie Hanaway have finally caught up with her. By day, she's an adjunct professor toiling away at grading labs and teaching thermodynamics in the hopes of landing tenure. Tenure? Tenure. I don't want to talk about that. I can't read. Listen, in my defense, when you read in your head. Anyway, by other day, Elsie makes up for her non-existent paycheck by offering her services as a fake girlfriend, tapping into her expertly honed people-pleasing skills to embody whichever version of herself the client needs. Honestly, it's a pretty sweet gig until her carefully constructed Elsieverse comes crashing down because Jack Smith, the annoyingly attractive and broody older brother of her favorite client, turns out to be the cold-hearted experimental physicist who ruined her mentor's career and undermined the reputation of theorists everywhere. And that same Jack who now sits on the hiring committee at MIT right between Elsie and her dream job. Elsie is prepared for an all-out war of scholarly sabotage, but these long penetrating looks, not having to be anything other than her true self when she's with him, while falling into an experimentalist's orbit, finally tempt her to put her most guarded theories on love into practice. I tend to read a lot of very dark, depressing, sad, dismal things. So every now and then, you know, you just gotta like pepper in some sunshine, you know? It like balances out in my head anyway. So yeah, very excited about that one. It's giving me Padme and Anakin vibes, and I know that she typically writes her books loosely based on Star Wars romance. If I'm not mistaken, obviously the love hypothesis was Kylo and Rey, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe Love on the Brain is Han and Leia, but I don't know, this one is definitely giving me Padme and Anakin vibes, and if I'm right, please let me know. If I'm wrong, please let me know, but I'm excited about it, so it's on the list. June 13th. 12 days after my birthday. How fun. Okay, it might be for the best that I put this off until the end of January because this book just had a cover reveal. And it is the last book on my most anticipated reads for 2023. And are we surprised that it's going to end with this one? If you can guess this one, we're besties. I'm just saying. That was probably a pretty good hint. Just saying. But anyway, running the list with this brand new, beautiful, released covered beauty, and that is Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare, which is the first book that she's writing in the adult genre. And it comes out on October 10th, and I can't wait. I can't wait. I have no idea how many books are going to be in the series, trilogy, like whatever it's going to be, but it sounds really good. And not just because I love Cassie, but it does sound good. It says, a high fantasy series about a young man raised to be the body double for an unworthy prince, a young woman destined to change the world, and a host of other characters, criminals, princes, magicians, and warriors. But let me read you the official summary. Ooh, I'm so excited. Okay, here we go. Two outcasts find themselves at the center of world-altering change in the start of a riveting epic fantasy series from the #1 New York Times bestselling author of the Shadowhunters Chronicles. In the vibrant city-state of Castellane, the richest of nobles and the most debauched of criminals have one thing in common: the constant search for wealth, power, and the next hedonistic thrill. Kell is an orphan, stolen from the life he knew to become the sword-catcher, the body double of a royal heir, Prince Connor Aurelian. He has been raised alongside the prince, trained in every aspect of combat and statecraft. He and Connor are close as brothers, but Kell knows he has one destiny: to die for Connor. No other future is possible. Lincaster is one of the Ashkar, a small community who still possess magical abilities. By law, they must live behind the walls in the city, but Lynn, a physician, ventures out to tend to the sick and dying of Castellane. Despite her skills, she cannot heal her best friend Miriam without access to forbidden knowledge. After a failed assassination attempt brings Lynn and Kell together, they are drawn into the web of the mysterious Ragpicker King, the criminal ruler of Castellane's underworld. He offers them each what they want most, but as they descend into his world of intrigue and shadow, they discover a conspiracy of corruption that reaches from the darkest gutters of Castellane to the highest tower of its palaces. As long-kept secrets begin to unravel, they must ask themselves, is knowledge worth the price of betrayal? Can forbidden love bring down a kingdom? And will Lynn and Kel's discoveries plunge their nation into war and the world into chaos? There are no words. It's 576 pages according to this. Who knows? Could be more, could be less, but can we talk about this cover? It is so beautiful. I'm excited to continue my Cassandra Clare shrine and start a new section of it because the entire shrine is shadow hunters, so it'll be kind of cool when it's more than that, but I'm very excited about that. Obviously there's a lot of other books that I'm excited for in the year, but I wanted to keep the list pretty tight and keep it on the books that I'm most excited about for this year. So that's kind of just a general look at the books that I'm dying to get my hands on, dying to read. So if any of these books sounded interesting to you or exciting to you, as I said, I've linked them all down below. I'm also going to put their date of release down below as well, just in case I forgot to say them at any point during the video. That way you'll have all that information down there. You'll have to let me know down below if there are any books on this list that you are also excited about getting your hands on or that you're excited to read this year, because now that I'm rereading some of the descriptions for these, this is going to be a good year for books and I really can't wait. And I am still in shock that I didn't realize that Chain of Thorns is coming out in 3 days, so thank God we filmed this video, or I would have forgotten that I had to go to the bookstore on Tuesday. So yeah, there's that at least. So that is it for this video. I sincerely hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found some books that you're going to jot down for your TBR, or you just heard some books you were already excited about and we can get excited about them together. You'll have to let me know which book on the list you're most excited about, and if you made it to the end of this video, drop an orange heart, because I did say that orange is my favorite color again in this video, so drop an orange heart below if you made it to the end of the video. And again, thank you for watching. I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.